Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously fascinating blueprint from our source text, all about spiritual anatomy and self-mastery. You know that feeling of navigating the absolute chaos of modern life, the burnout, the endless scrolling, those heavy social expectations, and just wishing you had a solid anchor? Well, the framework we're exploring today offers this incredibly vibrant, grounded approach to finding that inner strength. We're looking at the esoteric concept of the Divine Father. And we're not talking about some distant figure in the sky, but a deeply personal, internal architecture for serenity and real power. Okay, so let's jump right in and define our core concept. In this framework, the Divine Father is literally the cosmic architect. It represents the first cause. Think of it like the spark that lights the match, right? That primordial drive to just be and create. It's the ultimate stabilizing force of the soul. This principle provides the structural integrity, the spiritual laws, and those crucial protective boundaries that everything in creation actually needs to thrive. Basically, it's the masculine principle of initiation and authority sitting right there at the core of who you are. To make this massive, abstract blueprint easy to digest, we've broken this explainer down into 4 main phases. We'll start big with the cosmic architect, see how that anchors into your 4 lower bodies, check out the spiritual and sensory systems in action, and then wrap it all up with the mastery of divine will. So starting with phase 1, the cosmic architect and the hierarchy of the father principle. Because, this grand celestial authority doesn't just hang out at the edge of the universe. It actually filters all the way down to you. This entire concept perfectly illustrates a top-down flow of authority. It kicks off at step 1, the universal architect level, that primordial will we talked about, initiating the Big Bang of consciousness. Then it filters through step 2, the divine lawgiver. This governs the big spiritual laws like karma, vibration, and dharma, essentially giving us a cosmic moral compass. Finally, it comes all the way down to step 3, the sovereign protector. This is where it gets highly personal, creating an energetic boundary, often called a tube of light in the text, that acts as your own personal shield of truth. Which brings us right into section 2, the 4 lower bodies. We're going to look at grounding this blueprint into the human experience and see exactly how this paternal force stabilizes your everyday reality. The source text maps out an actual spiritual anatomy made up of 4 distinct layers: the physical, emotional, mental, and memory bodies. You can think of these 4 lower bodies almost like a house. And obviously, without a solid foundation, a house wobbles. We've all had those wobbly, off-balance days, right? Well, the Divine Father principle is what provides that exact stabilizing foundational force. Let's break down how it upgrades each specific layer. Starting with the physical body, the text explains that this energy provides the literal blueprint for your flesh. It affects your cellular and genetic levels, essentially throwing a protective barrier around your DNA. When this principle is fully active, you don't feel scattered or floaty. Instead, you feel incredibly grounded, heavy with presence, and you get this vibrant stamina that you actually need to execute your goals. It literally gives your bones and your posture real, tangible structural integrity. Moving on to the emotional body, the big takeaway here is how it completely transforms your reactions. So instead of operating out of reactive fear, panicking over an unanswered text or getting sucked into workplace drama, this energy builds profound, firm boundaries. It effectively heals old emotional loneliness and isolation by swapping those feelings out for a deep sense of being held by this unshakable protector. You get to operate from your true essence, rather than an anxious, socialized state. Now, inside the mental layer, this cosmic architecture does some major house cleaning. It clears out what the text refers to as empty junk and mental density. Think of it like having 100 tabs open in your brain, or that exhausting loop of overthinking. It completely wipes out that chaotic confusion and replaces it with singular, focused direction and absolute clarity. You actually gain the gift of discernment, meaning your mind starts operating with intense discipline and authoritative decision-making. Finally, we have the memory, or lower etheric body. Here, the principle acts as the first ancestor. It reaches way down into your energetic memory to clear out inherited baggage. It goes to work addressing inherited karmic seeds, overriding the memory of biological trauma, paternal lack, or earthly father wounds, with the original seed of divine fatherhood. It's basically ensuring that your core blueprint is reflecting divine perfection and not a history of inherited trauma. There is such a profound contrast between these 2 states of being. On one hand, you've got the absolute chaos of operating in reactive fear, dealing with all that mental density, empty junk, and emotional isolation. But when this architecture is firmly anchored, you shift entirely away from that, straight into protective strength. You operate from your essence self. You have direct knowing and can make authoritative decisions. It is literally the difference between feeling completely lost in the crowd and feeling utterly serene and grounded in your own skin. Which smoothly brings us to Section 3, Spiritual and Sensory Systems. This is the command center in action. We've laid out the structural foundation, so let's shift gears and look at the kinetic energy, how this spiritual center operates, moves, and protects you in real time. According to the source, this system utilizes 3 highly dynamic kinetic forces to keep things in order. First up is the Holy Spirit, which acts as the active executor. It translates that raw vertical power straight into your nervous system to clear out negative or defiant thought patterns. Then you have Divine Grace, which is an uplifting, corrective force. It smooths out emotional turmoil and helps you see the underlying cosmic order and beauty. And third is angelic resonance, tapping into what the text calls the blue ray frequency. Think of it as a frequency of truth and protection that guides your intentions and pulls supportive, fated connections into your life, so you're never really walking alone. As all of this kinetic energy integrates, your spiritual senses literally get a massive upgrade. You develop the authority of discernment, which is this powerful, authoritative gut feeling that helps you navigate the world safely. You also gain vertical intensity perception. That's a fancy way of saying you can sense the true, deep reality of a situation rather than just reacting to the surface noise. And, incredibly, the text points out that this comes with tangible physical manifestations. You might genuinely feel a profound sense of physical grounding throughout your day, or even a literal comforting warmth. Now we arrive at Section 4, Mastery of Divine Will, where we explore what it means to embody the cosmic law. This is the big transition from just following a set of celestial rules to actively living them out, stepping into what the text calls sovereign mastery. This specific line from the text is just so powerful. It asks us to completely reframe our entire understanding of faith. In the context of the Divine Father, faith isn't just some passive wish or a fragile hope. It's a solid, kinetic spiritual substance. It's an unshakable anchor that totally dissolves questioning and replaces it with direct knowing. It packs enough kinetic energy to literally manifest your highest potential straight into physical reality. With that kind of absolute faith anchored, you begin to manifest real sovereign power. This means commanding a pillar of fire or a tube of light, that spiritual barrier we mentioned earlier. It forms an impenetrable shield around your aura, neutralizing any negative projections coming your way. It also turns your physical body into a literal grounding rod for spirit-activated miracles. And crucially, you exercise sovereign discernment. You gain the confident authority to curate an incredibly healthy community, setting the exact boundaries needed to know who belongs in your inner circle and who absolutely needs to stay outside. Ultimately, all of these layers synthesize into what the text beautifully calls the kingly soul. At this stage, your physical body becomes a stable temple of immense endurance and strength. But the cool part is, it doesn't stop with you. You aren't just peaceful internally. You actively project this frequency of peace and protection outward. You effectively parent the environment around you, bringing order, vibrant safety, and an absolute serenity to the modern world, wherever you happen to walk. It's a wildly transformative way to look at personal energy and boundaries, isn't it? Based on this incredible spiritual blueprint, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on today. As you log off and step back into the vibrant rush of the modern world, ask yourself, are you simply reacting to the chaos around you? Or are you ready to become the unshakable anchor in your own life? Thanks so much for exploring this blueprint with us on This Explainer. Until next time, stay grounded.